Hey everyone, this is David at Sound Pure Recording Studios here with Luke Smith from Euphonix, who's about to run us down through the Euphonix Artist Series controllers.
Great. Thanks again, David.
Yeah.
So, like I said earlier, we have an MC mix and an MC control right now working together in Pro Tools and any other application that we want to control on our Macintosh. That is a very important point here with the Artist Series. They literally can control any application that you would like them to on your Macintosh. They're the only control surfaces that is what we call application aware, right? And that literally means that when I switch applications, say I have an application switching button here and I have an application switching button here, if I switch to, say, we have Pro Tools open now only, but if I even switch to the Finder, then the entire surface will switch to the Finder with me. Now obviously the faders don't do anything while we're in the Finder, but the touchscreen switched. And the touchscreen is very, very cool in that it is automatically populated as soon as you pull up an application with function buttons for that application, right? So we're going to dive into that in a second, but before, I just want to give a quick overview of what we're seeing on both of these control surfaces. So on the MC Mix, we have 8 touch-sensitive motorized fader that are 100mm faders, obviously very good for doing automation, stuff of that nature. We have channel select buttons next to each fader. We have record arm buttons next to each fader, right? And then above each fader, obviously, we have our solo buttons here. And if I can actually pull up my mixer really fast, there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and scroll down here so we can see what's up. Okay, cool. I've got my fader control right. I've got channel select control here. And obviously above those, I have solos, I have mutes, right? So all the basic mixing stuff you would obviously want to do.
Sure.
Now, the way the 8 knobs work is that basically what I'm seeing there on the scribble strip of 2 rows of text, right? So the top row of text on the MC Mix is always going to tell me what the faders are doing, so what tracks the faders are currently assigned to. And the great thing about having touch-sensitive faders is that when you touch the fader, no matter what DAW you're in, but obviously here in Pro Tools as well, you touch the fader and then you get the fader value, you let go of it, you get the track name. The knobs themselves are also touch-sensitive. And since we only have one dedicated knob above each fader, that's why we put these 5 buttons right here. So basically access the entire channel strip by dealing with these 5 buttons. So if you want the knobs to be doing pan, then you hit pan and then that's what they're doing, right?
Nice.
If you wanted to be controlling the bus sends, then you would hit aux on our surface, but that controls the bus sends, right? And now you can control the bus sends for all that stuff, right? Or say we wanted to control the EQ plugin for that track. Just hit EQ and it's good to go. Inserts is great because that allows you to access literally any plugin that is on any insert slot of any track that's showing up on the surface, right? So you have access to the entire channel strip right here. Now we also have some page buttons which allow you to page to different parameter pages. So you got a plugin open that's got tons of parameters on it.
Sure.
This button will be illuminated telling you, hey, I've got more than 8 parameters. Let's go ahead and bank over and get some more, right?
Sure.
Now on the right hand side of the mix we have basic track navigation buttons, banking and nudging, right? Now this is a good time actually to bring up the main difference that we're seeing with Pro Tools and using Huey and Logic or Cubase or whatever, any other Euphonix applications. Like I said, once again, there's a lot of misconceptions out there about what Huey can and cannot do, and so hopefully we can address some of that today. Cool. Banking and nudging in Pro Tools. Okay, since we're using Huey, we have to set up 2 Huey banks inside of Pro Tools. Now each Huey bank actually allows you or makes the surface think that there are 8 tracks, 8 physical faders on that surface, right? And so if we set up 2 Huey banks, we'll have a total of 16 channels that are available on the surface. Well, with a control and a mix, we have 12 faders, right?
Sure.
And so in order to get to 13 and 14 and 15 and 16, normally, before we had this recent software update, you would have to nudge, right, in order to get to those tracks. Now, how do we get around that? We get around that a couple of different ways, actually. The first way that we've been able to get around that is by actually mapping nudge to the jog wheel itself. nudging tracks. So if we move over to the MC control, we've got 4 touch-sensitive faders here. We've got 8 rotary encoders. I've got the touchscreen, which is really, really cool, and we're going to get into that in depth in a second. But what I'm talking about is allowing us to basically nudge tracks with this jog wheel right here. So I have a button here clearly labeled nudge. And what that's doing is telling the control surface to actually nudge by 1 track every time I turn the jog wheel left or right.
Very cool.
Now this is huge because it allows for that main limitation I said earlier about Huey to be so much more easy to use.
Sure.
And that, by the way, is a feature that people enjoy on some other control surfaces out on the market that DigiDesign makes, right? So we are basically mimicking a D-control feature with that. So now the rest of the surface on the MC control, basically the way that the MC control works is that whatever track I have selected, I have these 8 knobs that become the whole channel strip. So the way I was able to access the channel strip with the buttons on the mix, I'm basically able to access with all 8 knobs on the control. So I see inserts here, I see input routing, I see a hot button for EQ, I see my aux sends, I see panning information, the group information, then obviously mix is our output information. So once again, whole channel strip is also available on your MC control, right? And then we have the same nudge and bank navigation, but track navigation buttons right here too. So very, very simple. All right. Another main difference between the control and the mix is that the control has a dedicated transport section. Right, so we obviously have a nice half-moon transport that very easily fits your fingers in the natural way they lay down, and I'm able to press play, right, stop, or rewind a little bit. Let's go to we can go to rewind a little bit, right,
Nice.
play back from there, right, play from that second take, or it looks like there's not any audio there for a second, so we can just hold down fast forward and press play, and there's the start of that track. I've obviously got record arm here, and then we've got a nice jog wheel, right? When in addition to the jog wheel, I've already shown you that the jog wheel does more than just jog and shuttle, right? Obviously it does that, but in addition, we have some hard buttons created to zoom horizontally.
Nice. Yeah.
So we can zoom horizontally in there, or if I hold down shift and hit this button here, we can zoom vertically, right?
Wow.
So let's go ahead and start with the touchscreen, and then I'll get back into and doing a little more in depth on what the buttons do.